Hello and welcome to Sportuccino. It is Tuesday, 4 p.m. GMT on March the 14th. I'm Richard Parr, here to guide you through a fantastic day of sport. What a game it was last night between Chelsea and Manchester United. Little bit of tension there between Conte and Mourinho. We're going to be discussing all of that on today's programme with the sports broadcaster Neil Reynolds. He joins me on the programme very shortly. Stay tuned for that. We're also going to look ahead to the Champions League. Plus, you'll see me test out a new sports health and fitness product, and it doesn't go very well for me. You don't want to miss that. But let's start the programme with our sports headlines. Chelsea reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup after beating Manchester United 1-0 in a feisty encounter at Stamford Bridge. Leicester take on Sevilla in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie, trailing 2-1 on Tuesday. Muirfield Golf Club allows women members for the first time, giving them a chance of hosting the Open once again. And the double Olympic gold medalist Joanna Rousseau-Shand retires from cycling. Just before we talk everything Manchester United versus Chelsea, I want to tell you about one of the resources that we use to help build Sportuccino. It's called Dropbox. Many of you may know about it. If you don't know about it, it's really good because it helps you share files with other colleagues, and they can be anywhere around the world. It's a really good product. I put a link to it on this Facebook and YouTube page, and also on sportuccino.com on the resources page. Go and check it out. Click through the link, and you can test it out absolutely for nothing. For free. Go and check that out. It is Dropbox. It is a resource that we use here at Sportuccino. Well, one resource that Manchester United won't be able to use for too many games in the future is Ander Herrera, after he got sent off in the game between Manchester United and Chelsea, which Chelsea won 1-0 thanks to a goal from N'Golo Kante. Herrera's second yellow card in quick succession in that first half really changed that game. And of course, that was the poll on our Twitter page yesterday. We wanted to know your prediction of who would win that game. Let's have a look at the result of the poll. And 64% of you thought Chelsea would reach the semi-finals of the FA Cup. And 64% of you are correct. 36% of you are wrong. But would that game have been different had Ander Herrera been on the pitch? And you know what? Let's get the thoughts of one man who was at the game at Stamford Bridge last night. I'm delighted to say that the sports broadcaster Neil Reynolds now joins me live on Sportuccino. Good afternoon to you, Neil.
Hi Richard, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. So was that the key point of the game when Herrera got sent off for you, Neil?
I think the key point was that, it would have been had Pogba actually turned up, to be honest. Herrera's sending off, it changed the face of the game. Manchester United weren't really attacking as much as they probably should have been, being the holders of the FA Cup. But, Chelsea are an absolute beast this season, especially with Kante in midfield, who again literally ran the show.
Yeah, some comments today, Neil, from Jose Mourinho from after the game saying that Judas is still number one, and he did that three-finger sign to the fans because he's won 3 titles more than any other Chelsea manager. How bad was the atmosphere towards Mourinho in the ground?
To be honest, the only thing I heard was the "You're not special anymore" chant from the Chelsea fans. But I've been told by some guys that were in the press box that it was 2 young ladies that were having a go at Mourinho, and that guy kind of got picked up on. But they were calling him Judas. So they weren't as hostile as I thought it was going to be. The Manchester United fans, even at half time, there was a tribute to Houseman, who had passed away, and his children were there, and the Manchester United fans stood up and applauded that, which was quite refreshing. But I think on the pitch it was a little more hostile where Eden Hazard was concerned compared to what was going on actually on the terraces.
Yeah, so when Herrera got sent off, did Mourinho make the right decision for you when he took off Mkhitaryan?
I think that was probably the worst decision he's made all season. Mkhitaryan for me was the only player that Manchester United had in that first 15, 20 minutes, and without Ibrahimovic up front as well, and the Martial, and I was surprised Rashford didn't look well. He didn't look fit, and Mkhitaryan was actually supporting Rashford. So when he took him off, it was just a complete shock, and that was when Man United kind of retreated into their defensive shell and stayed there for the rest of the game.
Yeah, we did react to that yesterday on Sportuccino, talking about the fact that they didn't have 4 fit strikers and that it looked like Rashford would miss the game. And of course, he had a big chance one-on-one with Courtois, didn't he?
He did. He kind of, I think that was probably thanks to Sideshow Bob, more commonly known as David Luiz. But, Luiz missed the ball. Rashford was through, could have chipped the keeper, but Courtois came out, and that was the end of I think it was probably one of the only attacks that Manchester United had.
What do you make of United now? Obviously, they lost that game, and that Ander Herrera decision was the big turning point. But had that not happened, do they look like a much improved side? Do they look like a side which could potentially break into the top 4 finally? It seems like they've been sick forever.
You want a description or a one-word answer? Because the one-word answer would be no.
No.
No, I don't think they had it. I don't think Phil Jones is a Manchester United player. I don't think Chris Smalling stood up yesterday and was counted. Rojo and Costa, all right, they were hammer and tongs with each other for the entire game. But it's so obvious that Manchester United don't have a potentially championship winning or Premier League winning midfield. I think Ashley Young again is Ashley Young, and he has been ever since he was at Aston Villa. Pogba, there's no way that man is worth £85 million. If he's worth 85 million, then Kante's worth 200 million.
It must have been a pleasure to see Kante in real life. Now, what exactly does he bring for those who don't see it on TV?
For not wanting to use the old football cliche, but he has the most unbelievable engine. He's everywhere. Even Eden Hazard came out after the game and said that sometimes he thinks that Kante has a twin because he's everywhere he looks, Kante's there. And it's obvious that's what Leicester miss and Chelsea have gained. I think Kante is probably their new Claude Makélélé, to be honest.
Yeah, great player he was. Of course, Real Madrid regretted selling him as soon as he went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea next facing Tottenham Hotspur in the semi-finals. I believe it's Arsenal, Man City, the other semi-final. Are Chelsea on the verge of a double here, do you think, Neil?
I think they could be. It was interesting last night leaving the ground where the Chelsea fans were saying that Tottenham were the one team they didn't want to face. And I think everybody in that semi-final lineup were all hoping they would get Arsenal because of the turmoil that's there at the moment. But I think the more attractive of the ties is Chelsea Tottenham. As Conte said, it's 1-1 at the moment. Chelsea beating Tottenham and Tottenham actually getting their revenge with those 2 Dele Alli headers when they met at White Hart Lane. But Chelsea are the home team, but Tottenham Hotspur, their record at Wembley just recently is absolutely abysmal. So Pochettino's got to, A, hope that Harry Kane is fit, and B, hope that Wembley burns down and they have to play somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't think Wembley's going to burn down anytime soon. If it does, I think you should be under suspicion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to tonight's games, Neil. And in fact, let's have a look at what's our poll on our Twitter page today. We are asking who's going through to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. It is that finely poised game between Leicester and Sevilla. It's going to be a great game. Love to get people's thoughts on that on the Twitter page and on Facebook and on Periscope. Let us know who you think is going through, Leicester or Sevilla. Let's put it out there to you straight away, Neil. Who do you think is going through?
I think Leicester are going through. And I know that's going to be a contentious statement because Sevilla are a fantastic side, but Sevilla haven't been brilliant away from home in this Champions League campaign. I think I might be wrong, but I think they've only scored 1 away goal so far. All right, yeah, if they score that away goal tonight, then obviously, it's a tougher task for Leicester City. But Leicester City have suddenly remembered how to play football. They've got, they've taken Slimani out of the lineup, and they're actually using the width and playing the ball into Vardy. And Mahrez is playing like, the PFA Player of the Year that he was last year.
Yeah, he's got 3. He's been involved in 3 of Leicester's, I think, last 4 goals in the Champions League. Mahrez, an incredibly crucial player. What do you make of Slimani as a player? Personally, I actually think he's a very good player. I think he's a very good striker, but it just he hasn't really meshed in the team, has he?
No, I don't think he has. I think the thing with Slimani is he has to play as a target man. You know, being the height he is, he's the sort of player that you would expect to arrive at somewhere like West Ham United or Stoke City, for example. You know, Leicester last season, they got the ball on the floor, they passed it around with people like Drinkwater and Albrighton, you know, with Fuchs pushing forward. And Slimani just hasn't had the service, and I think that's been the problem.
This will also be Craig Shakespeare's first game after becoming the full-time manager, well, until the end of the season anyway, at Leicester City. Do you think that was the right call for the team to make?
Look, Shakespeare, you know, knows the players. He knew what Ranieri was trying to do, having worked with Ranieri so closely. I don't think Shakespeare's done anything different. I think he's just taken them back to where they were and the style of football they were playing last season. So, do you know what? It might be a shrewd move to the end of the season, and then who knows who they might have, depending on whether they stay up or not, of course.
He was asked yesterday, could they do one better than what they achieved last season? He said, why not? Is he dreaming?
Yeah, I think he probably is. I think if you look at the way, you know, Barcelona took PSG apart last week, you can't really see Leicester City troubling teams like that at the moment.
Well, let's move away now from football. It will be very interesting to see what happens in the Champions League tonight. And of course, we'll react to all of that on Sportuccino tomorrow. But let's talk a little bit about rugby league. Now, you're involved with the London Broncos. Tell us about your involvement with them, Neil.
Yeah, I was drafted in as the announcer for London Broncos a year ago now, and now working with the media team here with Amanda Purcell, the commercial manager, and Maddie McDermott, who's the communications and marketing manager here. So we're in the Kingstone Press Championship. We're currently fourth, only on points, and looking to push on towards the Super League.
And I hear there's a huge game going on Friday.
Yeah, we have the Ladbrokes Challenge Cup fourth round game. Toronto now has a rugby league team playing in National League One in England. So Toronto Wolfpack will be here at our home ground, the Trailfinder Sports Club in West Ealing, on Friday night to take on the London Broncos for the first time.
Oh, fantastic. Now, if anyone wants to get tickets for that game, are they still available, and where would they get them from now?
Absolutely. Just go to our website, which is www.londonbroncosrl.com. Click tickets. That will take you through to the online shop, and you can book your tickets online. There are hospitality packages still available, so come down. It's going to be amazing. We've got the Challenge Cup here. We've got ex-London Broncos players. I think there might be a surprise happening at halftime, but we're going to put that on social media in the next 48 hours. So keep tuned. That's at London Broncos RL on Twitter, and www.facebook.com/London Broncos RL on Facebook. So you'll find out what's going to happen.
Great stuff, Neil. One final plug for yourself, how we can follow you, please.
My Twitter is at SportsJourno123. You can find me on there. Please do get in touch. And more importantly, if anybody wants to come and support the only professional rugby league team in the south of England, I think the nearest one to us is Oldham, come down to Trailfinders or follow us on social media. The more people we see at Trailfinders, the better for us, and we'd love to see you here.
It'd be great. Neil Reynolds, sports broadcaster and announcer at the London Broncos. Looking forward to that game. Thank you so much for being on Sportuccino today.
Thanks for your time. Thanks a lot.
Really good to speak to Neil this afternoon on Sportuccino. I nearly said morning again. I know we are at that new time of 4 p.m. GMT, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 8 a.m. Pacific. Every single weekday, we are digesting the biggest stories in sport. Love to get your thoughts on the Facebook page and on the Periscope. Get involved in the conversation, be it football, be it rugby league. And every single day we have a great guest like Neil. And yesterday we spoke to the UK correspondent for Tutto Sport. It was Federico Falcomeni. And he was telling us about the game he went to see at the weekend. And it was actually Spal versus Cesena in Serie B, and Spal haven't been in the top flight of Italian football since the 60s. It's been a long, long wait for them, but they are on the verge of history happening. It was an interesting conversation with Federico. Why don't you have a little snippet at what we had to say?
Previously on Sportuccino.
They haven't been back in Serie A since 1968.
And on Saturday they went top of Serie B with that win. So the Serie B is a very strange league. It's like the Championship in England, of course. So anything can happen at any time against anybody. But in this moment, Spal are on a streak. Because they're, I think, 11 games unbeaten, and with that game they're now top. So they started to dream. But at the same time, they have the feet firmly on the ground, because they know it's going to be difficult from here to the end. But they now believe even more, because they got promoted last season, and they never expect to do the double jump. So the target for this season was just safety, mid-table safety. But now the top, and obviously they're going to believe to get promoted. And for instance, on Saturday as well, at the stadium there were some scouts from Leicester City and West Ham watching Bonifazi, who is a young, interesting talent in defence, playing very well for Spal at the moment. Although obviously, I think it will be too big a leap, from Serie B to Premier League. It will be even if you go play for West Ham or Leicester, still it will be a very big leap. So I hope the guy stays at Spal and maybe he gets promoted with them, and then gets the chance to show his talent at a bigger level, because otherwise it will be it will be massive, in terms of change and shift and everything else. But still, it was a very interesting experience, I think.
Well, as a Brighton and Hove Albion fan, and we're on the cusp of reaching the Premier League, I feel for the Spal and hope them all the best in that. You mentioned Capello there.
I was reading a Brighton and Hove Albion book, Build a Bonfire. Bonfire. Yeah, about the all the Goldstone and everything. I was reading it exactly this weekend, so it's a good connection there, and the colours are the same as well.
Oh, fantastic! So maybe the two clubs need to do something together if they both get promoted. Maybe a pre-season friendly or something like that.
Yeah,
that could be really fun. Yeah, back in 1997, I remember the Goldstone ground. Yes, it was a good chat with Federico. Check out the full interview at Sportuccino.com, as well as all the other episodes. Now, from April, Tuesdays will be our dedicated health and fitness days on our live show on Sportuccino.com, Facebook, and on YouTube, and on Periscope. We're everywhere. And part of that is related to doing product reviews and goal setting and everything like that. And we're going to move on to that part of the show today. And every single weekday, in fact, I set a brand new goal. And I've been struggling with a fitness goal of what I want to achieve, because, before it was losing weight, then I want to put on muscle, but I'm actually going to try and enter a race. And I announced it on the Sportuccino Snapchat page earlier this morning. If you missed it, have a look at this. Hello everyone, it's time for today's goal of the day, and I realised that I needed to set myself my own fitness goal, and I think I found one. I'm going to enter the Warrior Run on April the 23rd in Sussex. You'll be able to follow my journey here on the Snapchat page and on Sportuccino.com. Check it out. So my goal of the day is actually to register for that race. That's my goal of the day. It's time for you to set yours. Well, my goal of being in the Warrior Run might not be the best idea if you take a look at this next clip. I was absolutely pathetic when I tried out this brand new training appliance. It's an electrical muscle stimulation training appliance called Amplifitness. There's only one in all of the UK, in Hove, and you see I didn't get on very well at all. It's had some amazing benefits for people across the UK, such as the founder of the UK business, and it seemed to go down pretty well with my friend and colleague Daly, but it didn't go down very well with me. Why don't you have a look at this clip of our product review of Amplifitness. Amplifitness works with electrical muscle stimulation training technology. Daly joined me to test out the only one in the UK in Hove. Ursula Kovacs runs the company. She says Amplifitness helped her recover from a broken back after she was hit by a lorry.
I started to use it 4 years ago when after I had a serious injury and I laid in bed for a year and I was looking for a personal trainer, but instead of it I found my lovely machine.
The Amplifitness machine is said to tone, repair and build muscles.
It trains all of your muscles at the same time and the central nervous system as well. So if you have pain somewhere in your body, it gives you pain relief effect, or just you can train if you are lack of time.
An active sportsman, Daly's a former top 10 junior squash player in England.
It hurt quite a lot actually. It was kind of amazing. If the benefits are there and I'm feeling good tomorrow, I'll definitely give it another go.
He was surprised he had a red mark on his body when he finished the 20-minute session. I was up next. According to Ursula, anyone can use the system, but now top sports stars are starting to train with power currents.
Many professional athletes are using it. For example, David Alaba from Bayern Munich, triathlonists, handball players. It's very popular in the mainland of Europe.
I'm getting dizzy. Ooh.
Dizzy?
Yeah.
It didn't suit me though.
In this case, I'm going to stop it. Because if
Oh
you
no,
are
I'm gonna pass
drinking,
out.
I only lasted 58 seconds.
I have never experienced this before.
After rehydrating, I tried again and lasted even less.
Oh no, I'm going again. No, please switch it off.
It likely wasn't helped by using the system at the end of a long week. I hadn't drunk much water and hadn't had any dinner that day.
I would say you are the first one in whole Europe.
Oh no. Oh, I feel really pathetic.
It clearly didn't suit me, but if you want to try it out, go to amplifitness.co.uk. Yeah, it didn't go very well for me trying out Amplifitness. I was pretty pathetic. To be honest, I would like to give it another go. Maybe at the start of the week when I've had a bit of sleep, when I've eaten a bit better, when I'm not quite as dishevelled, and give it another go. Because as the testimonials say, it has been helping people around all of Europe. So no one can be as bad as me when it comes to that. And as I mentioned, every Tuesday is when we will be doing product reviews and everything related to health and fitness on Sportuccino. All right, before we go, let's talk a little bit about the other game in the Champions League tonight. It is Juventus versus Porto. Juventus have a 2-0 lead from the away leg when they were away in Portugal. They're now home in Turin with a 2-goal advantage. Porto are trying to do something which no team has ever accomplished, and that is to come back from a 2-goal deficit from losing 2-0 at home. No team has ever done that in Champions League history, but then no team had ever done what Barcelona did when they beat Paris Saint-Germain last week in that incredible game, 6-5 on aggregate against PSG. So could history take place again? It wouldn't be quite as remarkable, but it would still be breaking a long record, an unbeaten record in the Champions League. A little bit of team news for Juventus. They should have Juan Cuadrado, the winger, back from suspension, and Mario Mandzukic should return from illness for the Italian league leaders. Of course, beat AC Milan on Friday. What's your prediction for that game? I'd love to get your thoughts on that on the Facebook page, on the Periscope page, and on the YouTube page. Get involved in the conversation. And of course, you can watch all the episodes back on sportuccino.com. All right, before we end today's program, let's get a reminder of today's sports headlines. Chelsea reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup after beating Manchester United 1-0 in a feisty encounter at Stamford Bridge. Leicester take on Sevilla in the second leg of their UEFA Champions League tie, trailing 2-1 on Tuesday. Muirfield Golf Club allows women members for the first time, giving them a chance of hosting the Open once again. And the double Olympic gold medalist Joanna Rousseau-Shand retires from cycling. So that's it for today's show. Thanks to Neil Reynolds, the sports broadcaster, for being on Sportuccino this afternoon. Really appreciated his thoughts. Looking forward to that London Broncos versus Toronto Wolfpack game on Friday. Should be an absolute cracker. Get down to there if you can make it. On tomorrow's show, we'll be speaking to the nutritionist Robin Miller. She's written lots of books to do with cookery and healthy eating in particular. So if you want to up your diet game Watch Sportuccino tomorrow afternoon from 4 p.m. at sportuccino.com. If you haven't liked the Facebook page, do that already. Subscribe to us on YouTube and on iTunes because we are also a podcast as well. All right, enjoy the Champions League games tonight. We will review them on tomorrow's show. I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.